The McClendon Report. Ask or Ask, Donda's Rules, Suit Shoes. All available at McClendonReport.com.
This is a sad day in the USA. Jennifer Hudson's mother and brother found slain over the weekend, and the family being told that the boy in the white Suburban was Julian King, the 7-year-old nephew of Jennifer Hudson. Tonight on Garrard McClendon Live, I open up the phone lines to you. I'm angry, but what about you? Shots fired? Oh, we always hear that. Amber Alert? Oh, what's that? Reverend Jesse Jackson and Malik Yusef help us with life in the balance on the South Side and the West Side tonight on Garrard McClendon Live. Welcome to Garrard McClendon Live. You know, we're in mourning tonight for Jennifer Hudson's family members who were slain on the South Side this weekend. We now mourn the loss of 7-year-old Julian King. When will the madness end? Call me tonight, 630-575-TALK. We're taking your phone calls tonight on Garrard McClendon Live, helping us to get through the sad loss. Joining us by telephone is Operation Push founder Reverend Jesse L. Jackson. Reverend Jackson, thanks for joining us on Garrard McClendon Live.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you. You know, when I interviewed you in Gary about a year ago, we talked about economic disparities in the black community. Reverend Jackson, the violence is running rampant. I mean, Jennifer Hudson's family members being slain. What can we do about these senseless killings?
Well, let me say quickly, I am saddened and by all of this and offer condolences to that family. This level of savagery seems to have no deterrent. The fact of the triple homicide and the killing of this child illuminates the bigger issue. Last year, 427 Chicagoans were killed, 443. This year, 430 and rising. So really, it's condolences for 430 families.
Yes.
These three are illuminated because it's Jennifer Hudson's family, and so we need a state of emergency declared.
Yes.
In these areas where there's highest events of drugs and gun flow, there must be a state of emergency. People in these areas do not have public safety. They cannot go to church. Children cannot go to school without being shot. Businesses will not invest there. The drugstores cannot get medicine to senior citizens. There's no re-entry plan. These kids can make it out of jail into the streets.
Yeah.
And so this is time for a real state of emergency to be declared.
Yeah, Reverend Jackson, you know, something that's really upset me is the fact that shots can be fired in our neighborhoods, Reverend Jackson, and no one seems to care or even call the police because it's so common. How can we change that, Reverend Jackson?
Well, first of all, we don't make nor sell guns in the city. We know where the guns are coming from. And we know where the drugs are coming from. And while we're finding a war to stop the drug gun flow in Iraq, we're not doing the same thing at home. You know, we've lost 4,300 American soldiers in Iraq in the last 5 years. We lose 30,000 a year to gunfire at home. 100,000 are injured a year at home. And yet we've made semi-automatic weapons, AK-47s and Uzi and M16 legal again.
Yeah.
And so the guns, jobs are leaving. Drugs and guns are coming. It creates a kind of hell in which people are killed over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Reverend Jackson, and I want to make this clear and plain on Garrard McClendon Live. And I'm admitting this to my entire audience, I have been one to criticize you, you know, but the one thing that you mentioned the last time that I interviewed you was this. You said that you need civil rights leaders to turn up the heat when nobody else will. What do you mean by that?
Well, but it's not just civil rights leaders. For example, and while we focus tonight on Inglewood and the West Side, the two kids killed, you know, in Arkansas at the university, or the NIU killing last year, or the news reporter killed in Little Rock this week. We become increasingly a very violent nation. We make the most guns and we shoot them.
Yeah.
We consume the most drugs in the world. We make the most bombs and we drop them. We are the most violent nation on earth. We must take into account that none of us are safe, wherever you live, until all of us are safe.
You know, you are so right. You know, Reverend Jackson, to switch gears just slightly, it's the year 2008, and I'm telling you, earlier today, Reverend Jackson, I thought it was 1968 or 1915 or even 1848 when I heard about this so-called skinhead assassination plan on Barack Obama. Once again, the importance of turning up the heat.
Well, I think we must obviously be as careful as we can be, but again, in a nation so violent, I mean, John Kennedy killed at 43, President Reagan shot, Dr. King shot. I mean, we seem to be fascinated with easy access to guns as some First Amendment right. And we simply have too much access to guns, and we rationalize that it's all right. And my friends, when you look at what's happened at the University in Arkansas, NIU, Columbine, I mean, when will we learn that we must stop the gun and drug flow?
Reverend Jackson, on a final note, what can media do to change this whole game of violence in the United States of America? As Michael Moore pointed out in one of his films, this is probably the most violent nation in the world. How can media reshape all of this?
Well, I think we love our nation. That's why we're kind of sensitive to calling it as violent as it is, but it is the most violent nation because the most homicides in the world. I think one thing we must do is every day there's another killing, like from the side that we'll focus on this triple homicide in Maine because it's Jennifer Hudson's relatives, and she's a very prominent woman who has done so much to inspire us.
Yes.
But before the triple homicide this weekend, already 427 were killed already this year. And so all of these killings are horrendous and wrong, but they don't make guns in Chicago. They don't sell them there. We know where guns come from. We know where drugs come from. We've not made a commitment to stop jobs from leaving and drugs and guns from coming. And it requires all of our working together, all of us.
Man, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson, the founder of Operation Push in Chicago, Illinois. We appreciate you. Thanks for being on Garrard McClendon Live. You know, your phone calls are next on Garrard McClendon Live, 630-575-TALK. Call me and let's come up with some solutions. More Garrard McClendon Live in a minute.
That van had to at least get there like last night because it wasn't there over the weekend.
I walk this area every day, 7 days a week. That truck was not out here. If they brought that truck, they brought it this morning, early this morning, or last night.
Welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. Those are some eyewitnesses saying that SUV, that white Suburban, was not there for the whole weekend, contrary to some reports. Academy Award-winning actress and Arista recording artist Jennifer Hudson is in mourning this evening. Her mother, the brother, and nephew were all found dead. Julian King, the 7-year-old nephew, was found this morning in the white Suburban on South Colon Avenue. Joining us now from Tribune Tower to try to help us figure this out, Grammy Award-winning recording artist. He's known as the Wordsmith. He's worked with Kanye West, Common, Raheem DeVaughn, and Carl Thomas. The Great Chicago Fire, Malik Yusef. Malik, thanks for coming on Garrard McClendon Live.
Thanks, Gerard. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming down at last minute notice, man, but you got to help me figure this stuff out, man. We got crazy stuff happening on the south side, Malik, crazy stuff happening on the west side. You know, what's going on? I mean, you were a personal friend of Tupac Shakur, man. What's going on with violence in our communities?
Well, I mean, the community is a microcosm of what's happening in America at large. We have fostered an atmosphere of violence and using violence as a form of conflict resolution. And we think it's okay to let our little boys run around and say, oh, pow, pow, and beat people up and handle solve everything with your fists. Well, we know that fists graduate to guns. And when they get a hold of weapons, they use those as an extension of their fists.
Yeah. You know, Malik, you came out with a film. Of course, you're a recording artist, but you came out with the film, Hollywood Jerome. Tell us a little bit about this film.
Hollywood Jerome is just an encapsulation of what happens to a young guy who gets into it with the law enforcement, and he can't distinguish between the false reality that Hollywood gives him and the real life situation and how to play that out. So he takes the route of, you know, of Goodfellas or Godfather or Scarface, and hey, come get me, and that's an incorrect assessment of how to live life and prolong your life.
Yeah. 630-575-TALK is the number. 630-575-TALK. I've got Grammy Award winner Malik Yusef at Tribune Tower. Malik, talk to me, man. Let's talk about Jennifer Hudson. A lot of times, man, we think that because a person has fame, fortune, you know, they're in the spotlight, that things aren't going to happen to them. I mean, did this surprise you, Malik? This is terrible.
I mean, it surprised me, but at the same time, I know that just because you are a celebrity or a certain status doesn't make you immune to what goes on. You're not immune to it, and you are part of a civilization and a society that these things can happen in. We just hate that it happened to Jennifer because she is a close personal friend of mine, and she has us into such levels, and her family was so disconnected from that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
But your choices that you make to bring people into your life, you bring them into your life, but you bring them to the life of everyone else that you know. And that's an important thing to think about when you're educating youth.
Let's go deeper there, man, because, you know, we have to realize that every individual that you meet is another spirit. And whether that be a good spirit, a bad spirit, a spirit of confusion. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I know in some of your lyrics you talk about the depths of humanity.
Yes. Well, you activate another being, a person that's full of life, full of energy, be it negative or positive. You activating them into your space where you have a certain energy that's moving, and you can't. I mean, and we all know that you don't want to pollute things, but sometimes if you don't make a fair assessment, know how to proper filter, you think you're bringing in something good when it's actually something bad. The Trojans taught you that. Yeah.
Let's talk about mourning, Malik. You know, I've been sad all weekend, brother. I mean, you talk about the sigh of discontent and discomfort. And this morning, Malik, when I heard the news, or actually this afternoon, that the boy was Julian King, I mean, that blew me away, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are feeling it on a deeper level because we feel connected to Jennifer because she's from Chicago, she's from the South Side. We saw her struggle with everything on American Idol and so on and so forth. We saw her ascend to greatness off her own inertia, off her family's love and support. And so we're connected to her. She's a hero for us. She's an example that you can make it. And for her to be chopped down and affected by something this large and this such a grand magnitude, we can't help but feel that because we are connected. All humans are. Every creature on the planet is connected. Yeah. And sometimes we forget that every single thing that lives is connected and interlocked and is symbiotically linked to one another. So therefore, you know, and our spirits are hurt. We're not physically hurt. We didn't receive those bullets. We don't have to bury our family, but we're related on such a deeper level.
Yeah.
We're all the same water, if you will.
Yeah, that's for real, man. You know, we're all the same matter. And sometimes we forget that we are our brothers and sisters' keeper, but we don't always realize that unless the situation is a perilous one. You know what, Malik, I'm going to read some of my blogs here, man. LaDonna says, you know, it just breaks my heart to see so much killing. I recently moved back to Chicago to be close to my family, but with all the killing going on, it makes me want to pack up and leave again. Myra Spearman runs an organization called theweakervessel.org. She says, our hearts go out to Jennifer Hudson and her family. This is a tragic loss that will be felt for years to come. We at The Weaker Vessel are remaining very prayerful that Julian will be found unharmed. Of course, that did not happen. This blog, a comment was written before young Julian was found. One more here. Patty says, I see some comments about the violence in Chicago. I don't live in a major city, but I wonder, how do inner cities become so violent? How do inner cities become so violent, Malik? Make it quick, and then I'm going to a commercial break.
Well, it's a matter of efficacy. When you feel like you can't affect things on a larger level than yourself, then you somehow shrink yourself down and only do the things that you feel like you have power over. And you have power to go get a weapon or to say something mean to somebody or beat someone up. And that's how you externalize your power. You say, well, I'm powerful in this way, and I'm going to show you. I don't feel like I can ever affect the world globally. I can't solve hunger, but I can go and do these things and somehow manifest my power in that way.
Hold on tight, Malik Yusef, Grammy Award-winning recording artist. More phone calls from you as we comfort one another and try to make sense out of a triple homicide of Jennifer Hudson's relatives.
Police officers are human. I mean, this was a very tragic situation. You had a young boy, 7 years old. You have two people who have been killed. You don't know what type of condition he's in. Obviously, you know, we were trying to find him as quickly as we could. you know, every minute that passes, you get more and more nervous that he may have fallen into harm's way. So I commend the detectives and everybody that's worked this case, you know, to keep pushing after it to try and find out what information they may have learned that would have allowed for the safe recovery of the young boy. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, but it wasn't certainly for a lack of effort by anybody's part with the police department.
Jody Weiss, Chicago Police Department head honcho superintendent, saying that Chicago Police Department's doing a good job. Call me now and vent your frustrations. Darnell Donnerson, Jason Hudson, and Julian King were slain this weekend. Are shots fired too commonplace to us in our neighborhoods? Are our expectations too low? Do we expect to be mistreated? 630-575-TALK. Give me a call right now. You can holler at Malik Yusef, the wordsmith. Malik, thanks for staying with us. Also, thanks to Pamela Joy Blackman for getting you down there to Tribune Tower. I appreciate that. Malik, I'm going to some phones. Let's go to Tanya first. Tanya, thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live.
How you doing? I just want to say I'm sorry for the family that what happened to them. The boy in jail, I don't really believe that he did that, and that's kind of like a setup. And then again, I was like saying to myself, I know that boy from somewhere, Jennifer's brother. And I called one of my friends, and she was like, yeah, that's my cousin. Remember, we partied together and drank together and everything. And I was like, wow, small world.
It's a small world.
It really is, and I'm so sorry for what really happened to that little boy. They didn't have to kill him. But it's like the plot went wrong, you know. They figured, okay, they was going to let the guy out of jail, and they figured, okay, they'll get the money. But evidently they didn't get the money, so they had to, you know, do something to the little boy, and that's sad that this happened like this.
Tanya, thank you for your phone call. We appreciate you. I'm going to Tasha next. Tasha, what's your comment?
Hello?
Yes, Tasha, what's your comment?
Yes, I just feel that I just want to get my condolences out, you know, to the Jennifer Hudson family. But it's the younger crowd that's doing the killing, and they looking at the older, they grew up, and they looking at the older crowd that they could see shooting and all this, but you can't even walk down the street anymore. I'm going to McDonald's, and they just started shooting out the window, and I could have got shot. You can't go nowhere anymore. It's not safe anymore.
You know what, Tasha? Tasha, I got to let you go, but Tasha, I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live, Tasha. I'm going back to Malik Yusef. Malik, man, what makes a person, man, pull out a piece of steel, man, a heat, and start unloading on somebody? Come on, Malik.
Well, fear is one thing that motivates it. You gotta understand, their fear of being damaged in some kind of way by somebody that they feel is more powerful or has more means to interact with them. And they've done studies. I'm not a clinician of any sort, but I've done studies, and I've been in places, and I've trained with the FBI before, and I've trained with the police departments in various cities. And people are afraid. Most times you get a guy that's shooting, he's afraid. His fear.
And you know what, Malik? A lot of times, man, the person that will shoot you, if you get in a fist fight with them, they'll run away from you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Malik, hold tight. I'm going to Herman. Herman, thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live. What's up?
How are you doing?
All right.
Like I was saying, there are a number of issues that plague us today. One is babies having babies. What can a baby teach a baby? And then, two, you have women that are trying to raise men-child, which is impossible. You have some women that can succeed at raising a child right, a male child right, but he will never understand the full meaning of being a man. You have to see a man to be a man.
Wow.
And unless there's a positive male figure in these young men's lives, they tend to turn to gang. The only problem with that is that the person that they're following is an idiot as well.
Oh, man. Hey, Herman, thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live. We appreciate you. You know what? It takes a man to raise a boy into a man. Stay with us, Garrard McClendon Live. More GML. You know, welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. We're talking about the triple homicide of Academy Award-winning actress and sweetheart of the South Side, Jennifer Hudson's relatives, Darnell Donnerson, mother, Jason Hudson, brother, and nephew Julian King. 630-575-TALK is the number, and you can send a comment to my voicemail, the GML line, at 630-574-3232. Call me after the show. Malik Yusef, let's talk about, man, how people can be affected from a distance with that piece, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a fear of frontal interaction, of the lack of coping skills to be able to cope with a situation, so they feel like they can be affected from a great distance. distance, and that weapon allows that. Those bullets travel pretty far, most often hundreds of yards. So they don't even have to see you. They don't give you a chance to react, nor do they have to interact with you at all to be able to solve their perceived problem.
Malik, I'm closing the show now. I can't give you 12 bars, man, but give me just a little bit of something from Hollywood Jerome, just quickly.
Yes, sir. Me and my crew had just kicked off our shoes and were sitting back dissecting the news. They were giving interviews about enforcing curfews. Before the anchor took us home, they interviewed this small brother named Hollywood Jerome. It was scary. He said he was just as dirty as Harry, and like Eastwood, he was on his way to Hollywood.
Woo! That's Malik Yusef, Grammy-winning recording artist. He's worked with Common, he's worked with Kanye West, Lupe Fiasco, you just name it, Carl Thomas. That's Malik Yusef, the wordsmith, Chicago's own. Hey, after the show, read my blogs on the apparent Barack Obama assassination attempt by skinheads and more of your opinions and views on violence in the neighborhood. Our deepest sympathies to that family. To my viewers, keep your head up. Remember to always be encouraged, and let's figure this violence things out. Hey, I love you all, but I gotta go. Good night.
The McClendon Report. Ask or Ask, Donda's Rules, Suit Shoes. All available at McClendonReport.com.